Welcome to another episode of the Legends and Lessons podcast. Mihir Pimpale, welcome.
Let's go, baby.
Good to see you. Good to have you on here. Mihir and I have known each other for a long time. We sold together, we lived together, we partied together. We've had a lot of fun times. So this is going to be really fun and exciting podcast because you have a really cool story that I think a lot of people, that I know a lot of people will enjoy hearing. So give us a little bit of background.
Let's hope so.
Let's give us just background. People who have never heard of you, tell us a little bit about where you're from, how you got to this, to where you are today. A little bit of background. I have some cool things that I'll ask you, but just
Cool.
tell us who you are.
I mean, just a cool-looking Indian guy, I guess. I came born in India, Bombay and Pune. I was moving around those two cities. Went to University of Utah in 2016. Graduated with mechanical engineering degree. Got into door knocking through Vivint back in 2019, 2020-ish. I mean, just a human being trying to live life,
Good.
Not sure what else to say.
No, that's
But
good.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's really good. Yeah. So you grow up in India, then you come to the U.S. to go to school. That's the
Yep.
main reason you came, and that was a few years ago. So you got an
2016,
engineering
yeah.
degree. Is that right?
Yeah, mechanical engineering.
Mechanical engineering.
From University of Utah.
Now, tell people that don't know this. I think this is when I first met you and heard some of your background. This is one of the ballsiest stories I had heard. What you did with the tuition money and how you turned that into with your trading. I think this is a cool story. People should hear.
No, so if you guys know, schooling and all that stuff, University of Utah was pretty expensive. I think my dad spent like $50K per year to make sure I graduate with a mechanical engineering degree. And so what I did was, I guess the story Mark is trying to ask me about is the story where this discover student loans, right? That's what you could take out, So my dad, the first year, or the second or the third year, my dad had given me like say $50,000, right, in my bank account, right? And I found out about Discover student loans, where if you take out a student loan and you pay it off within a year or within like 6 months, they pay you like 4% cash back or something, right? So hypothetically, 100,000, 4% of 100,000 is 4K, right? So 50,000 is about $2,000, right? This was back in 2018, 2019, where I got into, this was back in 2020, actually. This was my first year after knocking doors. I got into option trading. I think that was just the hype back there, like Amazon stores, option trading and all that stuff.
Tesla stock
mainly
was about
Tesla
blowing up, yeah.
Yep, mainly Walmart, Tesla, and S&P 500 stocks, right?
Nice.
And then I played a Lufkin Coffee stock, which just crashed afterwards, after I made money. So what I did was, I took my dad's, so I took $50,000 out of Discover student loan, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I used that money to pay off my school. This was back in Jan of 2020 or 2021. With the $50,000 my dad had given me, I dumped it into Tesla options and Walmart options.
Nice.
Right?
And how much did that 50K turn into? Give it,
a
little bit of time.
This was like within 2 months, actually. My 50K converted to like 700,000 within 2 months. And keep in mind, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I knew kind of what I was doing, but I'll be honest, I got lucky.
Because here's my
harder
question.
you work, luckier you get. Right?
Yes, luck, but this is the question I have to ask, because this sets the stage for who is Mihir. When people hear about a move like this, there's all kinds of cool stuff we'll talk about, but one of the funniest things is like when people hear crazy stories about Mihir, this is the first one I heard that I was like, oh, this dude really is wild, which was like the fun part. What is it that motivates you, or what is it that gives you the confidence or the courage to say, I'm going to take $50,000 my dad gave me to go to the university, and I'm going to throw that into stocks and magically turn it into 700 grand, not knowing what I'm doing, but I'm going to have the courage to do that? Like, where did that come from?
Dude, the thing is, I would have made that back by knocking doors again. You know what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
You live only once, right?
So you had already done a summer of knocking doors, and you knew you had a skill set to make the money, so you felt a little protected.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
And second thing, back of my head, I was just like, worst case situation, I can just tell my dad what I did, and he would probably still be proud of me for doing something on my own and taking some risks, because that's what my dad did while growing up too. He grew up as a farmer. He took the risk by moving to a different city completely. Similarly, what I did was moving from a different country, right? I mean, worst case situation, I would have just called my dad and he would have been fine, kind of. Maybe not, but who knows? That never happened. Maybe, I guess we'll never know.
Okay.
We will never know. Thank God.
First thing is have a skill set that you know you can make this 50K back if you need to. Second thing is make sure your dad doesn't care if the 50K goes missing. That's the second
Not
step.
necessarily. He would have. I mean, I'm from India, guys. If you know how Indians are, like I would have been beaten.
Yeah,
50K is a lot of
you
money.
You can't just let that go.
No, but the thing is, like, I had taken like basic courses, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like blackjack, like red or black.
Okay,
you
so
know,
you at
I
least
knew it was
somewhat
strategic play. It wasn't
Okay.
like, I was continuously rolling those options into like future calls and all that stuff. Same thing with Tesla. I was
So
selling
tell
and
me-
converting, selling and converting.
I love this. I love that story. And it kind of goes, well, I guess let's backtrack for a second. So how do you go from I'm an engineering degree from India and now I'm going to go knock doors and selling alarm systems? It was the first thing. How did you end up on the doors?
Yeah, honestly, I got recruited, from Jason Newby, Tax Steel, and few other guys who were, they had like a career fair stuff, women career fair,
career
right?
fair, yeah. at
And
the
then we
college.
started a fraternity together, right? So, and then they had recruited certain guys to go out there to knock doors and all that stuff,
Okay.
right? The reason why I was knocking doors back in 2019 or 2018, it was only a summer program, right? I was looking for internship anyways. And I heard about, just talking to people and making some money. I heard some guys made like 30K, 40K, 50K over the summer, like within like 3 months, So I was like, you know what, if these guys can do it, I can definitely do it, bro. Like, there were like some troll looking guys, making 30, 40,000.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of money back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
I guess it was a lot for me.
Yeah.
Again, I had no expenses. Everything was paid for. But then I wanted to spend money, right? I wanted like nice things, I guess, with all those Instagram and all that stuff. You want to buy nice shoes, nice clothes and all that stuff. So you know what? I was like, I'll go out there, knock doors, see how it is, I had to get my license. I had to get, they made it hard for me to get employed, right? They were like, oh, you need to get your license. Okay,
You mean
fine.
the government made it hard for you to get a job?
Yeah, government too, but not necessarily government.
Or you mean
mainly,
the company?
Mainly like the guys who were trying to recruit me.
Okay.
Because they thought my accent would be hard. And all
They're
that
like, you're not
stuff.
going to be good enough.
Yeah,
really?
you won't be good enough, yeah.
Okay.
So they made me go get a driver's license. They made me go, obviously you need to get a social, right?
Okay,
It was
okay.
pretty easy to get. Did like an interview and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then boom.
Well, let me ask you this. So you're knocking doors now, alarms, you're killing it. And that's actually when we first met.
I wasn't killing it, I think. The first year, like I did like my first sale the first day. And then I didn't get anything for like the next month and a half.
I remember you telling me that is you started off hot and then fell. I mean, maybe it was beginner's luck or something, but then it took a while to ramp it back up.
Yep.
Okay. But that's a good thing you held on.
Yeah, that's true.
So tell me this. So yeah, because I remember this when we first met, hearing that I think it was your third summer when I met you, I think. Third summer.
Second, DC, right?
I think it was my summer. It was in Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah, I think it was second or third.
I think it was my for the third summer too. Yeah. But anyway, so we ended up in the same office, and I would see you like coming in and going, and there was just this weird Indian guy in Lulu's lemon joggers that would always be coming in, coming out, and you kind of like were a little bit detached from the office. Not that you were antisocial, but just kind of doing your own thing. And so I didn't really pay much attention to you. I had my own reps. I was managing and doing my own thing. And then one day I think I just sat by you randomly and you just flipped your phone over to me and you were like, and I wasn't into this was 2020 I think, or 29. Yeah, it was 2020.
I think it was 2020. Yeah.
It was 2020, and so you're like,
that's when I was trading
crypto. You're like, oh, look at this thing, look at this, and I was like, oh man, who is this guy? Like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, I'm not going to be mean to him, but I also like I don't want to see what's all this stuff. And then the next day you came in and you're like, yeah, remember that crypto coin I told you about? I'm like, oh, I've heard of a Bitcoin. At the time, I didn't even know what crypto really was, right? And you're like, yeah, that coin, it like 10x'd overnight. I was like, wait, hang on, what? What'd you say? And then literally the day after that, someone in the office was like, oh yeah, that Mihir guy this morning, he was trading options. He made 27 grand this morning. I remember this day. I was like, wait, he made 27 grand this morning and he's about to go knock doors. Like, what is this guy doing? So we'll speak on this in a little bit about the mindset of just the abundant mindset you have and always making more money. But I wanted to ask you, when did you first realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? So going from the career path of being an engineer, I mean, mechanical engineers, that's a steady profession. I'm sure your family would be proud of you. You make good money. It's like a consistent thing. When did you decide I want to just go off and do this on my own and become an entrepreneur and bet on myself?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to I mean, honestly, I never wanted to do engineering. I'll be completely honest with you. I just thought it was easy to do engineering as a safety net.
Okay.
If like everything goes down the drain,
Okay, so you already wanted to be an entrepreneur before.
Yeah.
You just said if worse comes to worse, I got a mechanical.
Because the thing is, I think it was instilled in me when I was a kid, right? Because my mom was a dentist and she had her own practice. My dad, he's in construction, right? So he has his own real estate company and all that stuff. So I always wanted to do something on my own. Back in like when I was like 14, 15, I thought I would just, go back to India, work with my dad, build his business and all that stuff.
Okay, yeah.
That's still an option. I just don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Right. When I started my first summer, so I was Googling like, okay, how much do mechanical engineers make and all that, right? It was like 80,000 to 120K. I was like, cool, 80 to 120K, that's decent amount of money, right? But you have to do 9 to 5 and all that stuff, right? My first summer, I made $30,000 or $40,000 knocking doors from like May to August, right? I was like, oh, cool, 40K the first summer, right? My second summer, I think it was around like 85,000. So I was already, before I even graduated, I was making 80K in like 3 months, right? Of just knocking doors. And it was so simple too. All you had to do was just go out there, knock doors. You had an iPad with you. It's free money.
Yeah.
So I was just like, it takes a time, but it's free money, right? I made 80K the second year. And I was just like, dude, my first year I made 30, 40,000. My second year I made 80,000, right? I already got into options and investing thanks to...
now?
Yeah, thanks to like few VPs at Vivint back in the day. And then I was just like, dude, why do I want to be an engineer? Like, why do I want to do mechanical engineering and whatever the heck it is? And then do 9 to 5 and make 80 to 120K when I can just work for 3 months and make that. And then just relax for the whole year.
Well,
when I say relax, it's
Mihir's not a relaxer, but we'll
but when I
talk
say
about
relaxing is like work on my own things.
Yes.
Like, instead of working for someone else.
For sure.
I mean, I don't consider, how people say work-life balance? For me, it's more of like work-life harmony. That's just who I am.
Harmony is a good word.
That's just like, I just like,
because there's no
I just like having fun.
Yeah.
And having fun to me is just like, helping others make money, making money, just going on vacations, right? Like you get the point.
For sure. I like that work-life harmony because I mean, all the greats that you've ever heard of, and we'll go into your incredible year in solar that you had last year. We'll go into that in a minute, but all of the greats that accomplish anything like what you did last year in solar, I mean, when you talk about balance, there's no such thing as really balance. You can find a sweet spot in a harmony, like you said, but if you're trying to think that everything on the silver platter is going to be, I'm going to have the equal amount of time with my family as I'm going to have in the workplace, as I'm going to have to work on myself, as I'm going to have to work on my spirituality, and like there's 24 hours in the day. You're not going to have 6 or 7 equal hours to do each little thing, right? So I like that, the harmony. And one thing that you said that actually reminds me of a funny story was you talked about free money, and I remember this. This was one of the coolest mindset shifts. And for guys on the doors, that people that knock door to door or do any kind of commissions only job where they're doing cold outreach, they're getting constant rejection. I remember being in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm talking about like, I think it's the per cap. I think it has the highest amount of rainfall per capita of any city in America, including like, we're talking like Seattle. Like Mobile, Alabama is the rainiest city. So you're there in the summer and it is so humid because it's so hot, and that mugginess and the rain. I mean, it's just like, it's a brutal place to knock, but I mean, we obviously had good success. My point is, I'm in here with this team and we're just dripping sweat every day. We're doing good, but we're also getting beat down on these doors. And I just hear this Mihir guy in the background. He's just talking about free money. And then one day I heard you say, yeah, this is the easiest job of all time. This is the easiest job I've ever had. And I was like, what the? And that's the first time that I was really like, okay, this guy's making this weird, I don't know what he's doing with these crypto Doge things in the corner. I don't know what he's doing with these Tesla options. But now he's saying that one of the hardest jobs that I've ever done, and that most people that do a job like that would say that they've ever done, to him, he's like, this is the easiest job ever. I love it. It's free money. And that's when I knew, okay, the mindset is different here. And it was cool because it's the same mindset that, it's the same job, but it's the mindset that made all the difference. So tell me, where did that come from? This mindset of, I'm going to take one of what most people consider to be one of the hardest jobs that they probably have ever done. But for you, it's like, this is the funnest thing. It's the easiest thing. It's free money. I remember you saying, all I have to do is knock on a door and ask them if they want a doorbell camera. If they say yes, I get $600. Like for you, it's just such a nonchalant, casual thing. And for most people, like they're going to war every day just to make $1 out there. So tell a little bit about the mindset.
I don't. That's a tricky one. It's like asking a caterpillar, "Hey, how do you become a butterfly?" You just don't know. People who answer that question,
Natural.
it just naturally comes. I feel like, but I mean, I'll try to do my best to answer the question, right? But I think it was mainly from my mom, actually. She's like super spiritual, and she believes in like self-talk, and she believes in like there's a genie out there, right? So whatever you ask for, as long as you have the right frequency, you always get that, right? And I have believed in it like pretty strongly when it comes to that, because whatever I've asked for, I've always gotten. Even when I was a kid, if I just kept on crying and cribbing about a PlayStation, I got a PlayStation, you know. If I wanted to go on a vacation, all I had to do was just keep on saying it, hey, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And then we went to Singapore, we went to Bangkok, Thailand, and all that stuff, right? I guess I believe in something called as a golden bubble. So like every day since I was like, I guess 6th grade or 7th grade, every day when you wake up, like you just close your eyes and like breathe in and say, hey, you're in a golden bubble. Whatever happens, happens for good. You get everything you want, like, you know, you deserve everything you need, you know, be one with the universe, be one with the frequency. Because I truly believe like energy reciprocates, right? Whatever you give out, you get back. It's a ripple effect, right? If you're going to be mean to others, people are going to be mean to you.
For sure.
If you want to help others, you know, if you're going to be helpful, you're going to get help back, right? So, and I believe that's where it came from. But my self-talk was like, even if the days were hard, they were never hard because my self-talk made it easy.
There you go.
You know?
I love that.
The way I was tracking, if I wasn't getting sales, right? I was looking at my watch and I was like, oh, dude, I walked 10 miles today. Let's go, baby.
It's still a win, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're finding wins no matter where.
The first year, legit, the way I was tracking myself was like, okay, I need to walk 8 miles in order to get one deal.
Oh,
you know?
there you go. So you weren't going by the doors. You're like, I just need to put the steps in.
Yeah, just need to get the steps in, you know?
Nice.
I mean, doors mattered too, but for me, it was easier with Apple Watch and all that stuff these days. Like, oh, okay, I haven't gotten a deal yet. Why? Let me check my watch. Oh, I've only walked 6 miles today. So I used to just walk around and knock on the door. And it was so mental. I was like, oh, dude, 8 miles. Let's go knock. Boom. Knocked on a door. My conviction was pretty high because I was telling myself, oh, dude, I'm for sure getting this deal now. You know, because I just walked 8 miles.
Yeah, why would I
know?
not?
So the customers feel that too.
Yes.
I feel like if you're desperate like a cat and they're like, oh, do you want some water? Do you want something? No, get the heck out. Just change your mindset, you know?
Yeah, it's true. Now, and that's, so I have 2 quotes that I remember you saying that I think are awesome. The first one is that, what did you say? You said, if this life or this world is a simulation, the cheat code is affirmations.
Okay, yeah, I said that.
And which is your golden bubble,
Yeah,
right?
golden bubble
so like,
stuff.
if we live in this crazy game and this crazy
Like life
scenario
hacks.
called life, affirmations. So are those kind of your favorite? Do you have like one that's your favorite affirmation that you always go back to, or is it just kind of that idea of this golden bubble?
Dude, I've been
reciprocation?
I've been saying I'm the GOAT.
Yeah,
I just keep on saying the word GOAT.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
It has just stuck in my head. Right? It's the greatest of all time, right?
Yeah.
So whatever I do, like I'm gonna give it my all. Right? If you're doing something, give it your all, or just don't do it.
Yeah, you can't say I'm the GOAT and not show up.
Yeah, exactly, right? If you're trying to do, I guess you have one job, bro. If you have one job you need to do, and if you're not giving it all, just don't do it.
Yeah, I
you have one
remember
life, right? If you're not going to give it all, just don't live. Like, let's be honest, right? There's a bunch of people, specifically in the US too. It's like a first world country. I come from a third world country, and the amount of things people take for granted is just like, it's just so dumb. You know, that's why it's just like you have one life, just give it all, you know, that way you have no regrets, you know.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, there was I remember, I think it was in 2023. I think it was 2023. In 2022, that was the year we were in South Carolina selling, and we had a good year, but it wasn't, it was a good year, but it wasn't, yeah. Anyway, there was a lot more money we could have made that was left on the table and taken away. So I remember 2023, I remember you saying, this is when we were roommates, and you were like, I don't know how this year, but I'm going to make $1 million. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know that I'm going to make $1 million, right? And of course, I mean, that came true. And the other thing that you mentioned that I was going to touch on was that you said that everything that happens for good, right? Which, I mean, we all know the cliche saying, everything happens for a reason, whether it's you believe in God's plan or you believe in the universe working for you, whatever it is. But I love the way, because I've never heard anyone else say that not that only does everything happen for a reason, but a good reason, right? Everything that happens to me for good. So that's, I feel like if you had a saying of affirmations, but that's got to be at the top of it. Because that one's fire.
Yeah, no, I say that pretty often.
Everything happens for good.
Whatever happens for good. Yeah.
I love that. So tell me, so with solar, last year you had one of the biggest years. Actually, I think it was the record-setting year. I don't think anyone has ever sold more solar deals in a 365-day period than you did last year. How many deals did you install? Because everyone knows to install X amount, you need to have sold even more than that. So how many deals installed last year?
So 640, I think it was 642 or 647 that installed.
Yeah.
I got funded on like 590 deals or something like that.
Nice.
Because a lot of them were installed in December, and then the calendar year ends, and then I got funded in Jan, and I'm still getting funded actually. I just got funded $300K last month.
Hey, we like that.
I was like, go.
We like that. So tell me, so to do that, I mean, let's be honest, 600 and even funded 590, that's more than not only some orgs, but some entire companies. Like there's companies that don't even do that much. So give us a little bit of a help, maybe your top 2 or 3 things that you feel like contributed to that success. Obviously, we know this mindset that we just talked about is going to be a huge one because it all starts in the mind. But what else what are maybe like 2 or 3 things that you feel like also helped to bring out the best success that anyone's ever had in solar in a given year?
Yeah, what I've realized is like a lot of people, specifically 1099 contractors and sales guys, right? They're so focused on building for one company.
Okay.
Where they forget like you need to build for your guys, your team, and yourself too.
Okay.
Right? No, so for example, if there's a company called XYZ and they only have like three lending options, right? That only approve about 650. So pretty much anyone between 600 to 650 credit scores, you're going to lose those customers.
Okay.
Right? So just having multiple options. We had no credit options, right? We had of course, like normal options were like PPAs, leases, loans. A lot of the companies didn't even have leases until like 6 months ago or 7 months ago, right? Just having all those options was definitely a help. And then mainly being in close contact with all the EPCs I knew. Like EPCs are like basically companies that help you install solar systems and all that stuff. I was pretty well connected with almost all the EPCs, right? Because I used to do sales for them, right? Like, I mean, everyone likes people who bring in money, right? That's how I was bringing in value, was by doing more sales, right? What changed last year was I got in contact with a lot of realtors in Texas. Yeah.
Okay, realtors. Okay.
Yeah, in Texas, right? And any new neighborhoods and all that stuff, I started dropping off my cards.
Nice.
So it was pretty easy for me to. I landed.
And this is mainly Dallas that you did all these deals.
No, Texas.
Or sorry. Is this all in Texas, or did you do these deals like nationwide?
Texas, Florida, New Mexico.
Okay, Texas,
and
Florida, Mexico.
Oklahoma was like probably like 10 deals or 20 deals.
Okay.
So it wasn't mine, but mainly it was Texas, Florida, and New Mexico.
Nice.
I landed a deal in Florida where I got almost like 110 homes, 120 homes.
Holy cow!
Through a builder. Yeah, I have a whole recording of those homes and all that stuff too. And then I did a few commercial deals with few EPCs out here and there.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you right, the biggest thing is spread your net wide.
Yep.
Don't focus. I mean, because I think that's the mistake that we really ran into in 2022 when we had our last year with that company that we were with. That was our biggest mistake, is that we were just too narrow focused. I don't want to say...
We were just using one lender. That's the issue, right? We were using one lender, and that lender screwed almost all of them.
The lender... Well, no, that was 2023. I'm saying in South Carolina, we were with one company, right? Which, again, we had a good year, but it could have been way better. Now,
I'm pretty sure we made like 90% of our money in
New Mexico.
September, October.
Yeah, in the New Mexico.
September, October.
Yes, yeah. So tell me this then. Okay, so you have... This because this is the thing that I think some of these guys that are hearing this podcast are going to say, that are knocking doors, is, okay, well, wait a second. If the secret to success is to cast my net wide and have 10 different logins to 20 different companies, what about loyalty to one? So if I'm with XYZ solar company and I've been with them for 2-3 years, like what if they don't want to break their loyalty, or or they're worried about if I get multiple logins, I'm going to lose my commissions in these pending deals, things like that.
So I mean, the thing is, like, you're loyal to solar.
Okay, so it's a mindset shift again.
Yeah, it's a mindset shift. Like, you're loyal to solar. If a customer wants savings, I'm going to give him solar panels somehow.
Okay.
I don't give a crap how I have to give him solar panels. I'm going to get him solar panels. That's how you look at it, right? You're a 1099 contractor. Obviously, I mean, you can be loyal to one company. Nothing wrong with that, right? But then you're being disloyal to your customer who wants panels, and you can't give him that because this company doesn't have the option.
Come on now. I love
that.
Right?
Does that make sense?
I love that. That's fire. Yes. So are you loyal to your company, or are you loyal to the customer and to yourself? I mean, if you're...
the thing is, I always, obviously, if I'm working for XYZ, I'm going to try giving the customer solar panels or whatever through XYZ. But if I cannot, I'm going to use all my resources to make sure they get what they need and what they want.
Nice.
You're
getting paid somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting paid, but I'm helping, the homeowner as well. Right?
Tell me this. I remember because to do that, I mean, to do 590 funded accounts, I mean, you had to sell obviously more than 700 to do that volume. You're like, you can't have an off switch. I mean, that's like, say you had to sell 900 deals to install 600.
I think I did like 700 and something contracts.
Yeah, so we're talking like almost 2 or 3 deals a day for every day of the entire year, right? So this is a lot. So one thing that I recognize that I wanted to ask you about when we were roommates, most people, they work really hard so that they can get to an end goal of relaxation or of taking their foot off the pedal or of living on, going to the beach, going on that vacation or splurging on this car or vacation or things that they really want, right? One thing about Mihir that I've noticed though is like, how do I say this? We come home for a long day of sales and you wouldn't want to, like most people are like, oh, I got to shower. I got to put all that work day behind me. And they could be a construction worker. They could be a baker. They just want to put work to the side and then go like draw a line and go into a different phase of their day or their life, right? But for you, the work never stopped. Like you enjoyed working so much. If we weren't making solar money, you would come home and you would be immediately trading on your phone, or you'd be immediately on a phone call with an investor talking about somewhere to put the money you're making from solar. Like there was never a time where you wanted to take your foot off the pedal because you enjoyed the work so much. And it's not just
I
solar.
didn't consider it as work though. That's just life. You know what I'm trying to say? That's just life. You know, it was living for me. It was just fun.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you is where does that come from? Because for a lot of people, even if they're in a job that they enjoy, they do get to that point. I mean, we all have hard days, but I'm saying most people, even if they kind of enjoy what they do, they draw that distinction between work and life. But for you, work is life, right? So where does that love for just always making money and finding new ways to make money all the time, where does that come from?
Or I didn't even think it was just for making money. It was more of just like for learning too.
Okay.
You know, when I was like, say if you consider it as work, when I was like knocking doors and all that stuff, that's not work, bro. Like you're just going out and walking around and talking to people and making money, you know? When you come back home, it's a different thing. It's a different shift. You know how like when, think about it as living life, right? You wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you go, say you're doing, if you're a 9-to-5 worker, yeah, sure, you're doing 9-to-5 work, but you're going to be on your phone half the time, like watching TikToks or whatever, eating lunch in the middle. You know, you're going to the gym later, you're coming back home, watching TV, TikToks, trading, crypto, whatever you guys want to do, right? For me, it was like, it wasn't a routine, but it was more of just like, you know, I'm done with the solar section for the day. You know, let's look up what's happening in the crypto world.
Yeah, because I think, you know, someone will get home. When I say someone, I mean me. A lot of us are guilty of this. They might get home and they might say, hey, I need to take a load off, so I'm going to get on Instagram, and next thing you know, I've been scrolling for an hour. Whereas you would get on there and scroll for 2 minutes, and then all of a sudden have spent 30 minutes in crypto, and then 20 other minutes in
It's funny because, dude, like, depends on what you're searching, right? Like Instagram and TikTok, they have like nice feeds now. You know, they alter towards your feed.
Yeah.
It's like micro learning.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you look at my Instagram, I don't know what it is. If you look at my Instagram and my TikTok, it's filled with like some crypto stuff or like random stuff. You know, nothing wrong with that. Honestly, like
yeah. So that's good. So you've tailored the things that are I guess you could say, your releases, your amusement times or your fun times.
Increase your dopamine level too. When you see like crypto trading and new coins and all that stuff, it gives you like that gambling feeling and like the luck, you know, the luck feeling. So it increases your dopamine as well. I don't know what it is. Like,
okay, well, tell me this. So, talking about, sorry, we're going to shift back to the solar where we were at there. So I know when we were at, for example, when we were at Vivint, a lot of guys, they would have the top alarm rep of the year, and they would have some like training where they would run and train all the rookies, and everybody would always ask them like, what's your pitch? What do you say? And I mean, whether you're in phone sales, whether you're in any kind of thing, everybody always wants to know how you start the conversation. Like, what's your starting 5 words, 5 lines? What is it? What is your pitch, right? But for me, I mean, they would give us these pitches, and I'm like, dude, those pitches aren't anything exceptional. I always thought that it was more interesting and more valuable to know what do the top closers do at the closing table, because how you pitch them on the door is nice, but I mean, anyone with a pulse can get into somebody's house or can get to the closing table, but getting them to sign docs is different. So tell me, when you get to that point, when you're at the closing table and those objections come up, what's your rule of thumb, or what's your ways that you usually handle those? You can, if you want to pick an objection and talk about how you handle it, if you want to just talk about broad terms like mindset of how you go about those objections, those late in the deal objections that kill the deal, because we've all had customers where they're all happy-go-lucky and they're nodding and yeah, and then you slide the paper over, the iPad over, and you're like, yeah, just sign here, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing this, and you're like, whoa. For a lot of people that aren't experienced, that's gonna throw them off, you know. How do you like? What do you do to dial in and be like, oh, this is no big deal, and you know?
Yeah, a lot of the times what happens is like what I've noticed at least when I'm shadowing people and all that stuff, like shadowing closers, they're talking too much about solar stuff or talking too much about the security system and all that, right? The way I sell solar is if someone watches me close a deal, I'm not even talking about solar. I'll be talking about like Diet Coke, like how nice this lighting is, or like the dining table is so like, pretty or whatever the heck, right?
Yeah.
And it's genuine too. I'm just having a genuine conversation with the customer. My first line as soon as I walk into the home is just like, dude, it's a lovely home, yada, yada, yada. And then I'm just like, hey, Mr. Mark, if I'm not saving you money, let's just not even do it. Because in my head, it's just like, I don't know what it is. Like, I genuinely don't care if the customer signs right there and then. And that's probably what the customer feels the same way. So it's like, hey, he's not trying to sell us anything. He's more of just like trying to see if he can help us out. That's probably what they get from me as well. And for me, it's just like solar is pretty easy. Like you are going to save them money no matter what, right? A lot of the guys who come to Texas from California are pretty like one-dimensional. The reason why I say that is because they do blitzes out here, right? And they're the ones who struggle because the rates out here are like 18, 19 cents compared to 40, 50 cents back in San Diego and all those places, right? So they can't save more, but there is more to savings than just the monthly payment of electricity bills and all that stuff, right? Because you can like tell the customer you can use the tax credit you guys get to pay off your car or whatever the heck, So if they're paying $400 or $500 a month for the cars, that goes to zero, for like $80 or $90 a month more for the electricity bills. But when I usually get objections, it's tricky because the way I answer those objections is just by connecting with them.
Okay.
I'll just keep on complimenting them and all that stuff and say if the objection is like, hey, what happens if I move, right? I'll pretty much be like, dude, like not a big deal if you move. It just transfers to the guys who move into next, right? Just like when you sell your home, it just transfers to the guys who move into next, right? Small things like that. But give me like a scenario when you're saying, hey, like when you tell them to sign documents.
Let's just say that. Let's just say that you get to the closing table and the sale's been going great, and all of a sudden, you're like, okay, well, it's this much monthly, and let's sign docs and get this show on the road. And I don't know, husband's been talking the whole time, wife's been on the couch, and she all of a sudden pops up and says, yeah, my cousin Susan had a problem with her panels in Arizona.
Okay.
So I'm hesitant, something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good question too, and the way I'll answer that is like, that's just the issue with the industry is it's not it's the panels always work. It's the sales reps that show them the, how do you say it? It's the panels always work. It's not the panels, it's the sales rep, right? They set like wrong expectations with the homeowners.
Okay.
Right. The way I'll say is like if I see a washing machine in the house, right? If I see their car, like say if it's a Ford F-150, right? And I'll ask them, hey, Mr. Mark, like that's your Ford F-150, right? How do you like it? Is it working? Is it reliable?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, let me show you something. Then I'll go to Google and type in faults with Ford F-150 or like complaints about Ford F-150 or like whatever car.
And there's a lot of them. Yeah.
Whatever cars they have, right? Like or Tesla Cybertruck problems, right? If the customers like their car, and I'm showing them all these faults, I'm just going to show them pretty much saying, say, it's not the car. It's the sales rep who explained them that. And so that's how I'll transition that. And then I'll show them all the selfies I have with the homeowners. I'll show them all the video recordings I do with the homeowners. Like, hey, how do you like your system? You have had this installed for 2 months now, Yeah. I'll go back to my existing customers, get a testimonial, so I can show it and use that as ammunition.
Yeah.
And a lot of reps don't do that. They don't take selfies. They don't have recordings of themselves with the homeowner.
I can't tell you how many deals that saved me. It's true. Having a pocket full of selfies to be able to show them. And okay. So I love that. So just recapping. So obviously you set the right tone when you come in, and it starts before that, because you have this mindset of, like you said earlier, I'm going to get panels on these people's roof. I don't care what I have to do. If I have to use this company, that company, if I have to...
As long as they're saving money.
Yes, right?
Because it's stupid not to do it. If you're not saving money, it's genuinely stupid to do it.
Solar can be a no-brainer, yes.
Yeah, but if you're saving money, it's absolutely no-brainer.
It's like a no-brainer.
It's like eating pizza without cheese. Like, you have to have cheese. You know what I'm trying to say? You get the point.
So, but this is my point is I love that, because that confidence and that like surety that like, why would you, like, it just absolutely does not make logical sense not to do this. As long as all the we can put all the ducks in a line, that bleeds in, they feel that energy, but also you're in this mindset of I'm going to do whatever it takes to get panels on this roof, as well as when you walk in, disarming the customer and saying, hey, if this doesn't work, let's just not do it. I'm your friend. I'm not your enemy. And then you go about it. I like it because you have a mix of a logical approach to let's look up complaints about Ford F-150s. Even though you love yours, Johnny Appleseed in Wyoming might not like his, right? But then also that you like you said, then you immediately will pivot and redirect and go into selfies, and you'll go into these are all the people that do love it, and so you're bringing the emotion. Really, you're really a master of emotions to bring their emotion back to where you want it to be. And then
I mean, even the solar is a logical sale, but people buy on emotions. You know, like people like, I mean, it's usually like you said, the spouse was sitting on the couch, right? Like the wife, right? Normally, guys are logical, and like girls are usually emotional, right? So you can't just sell someone on logic stuff, you know, because it's not a proactive market, it's a reactive market, and some people might actually buy panels on their own, but you need to give that push. I don't know what it is. In today's world, you need to push people to like make money or save money. I just don't realize it. It's not hard. Like,
it's true.
It's just the world we live in.
It's true. We live in a world of abundance of information and of crazy things, and yeah, sometimes people need to know that they need to feel safety and secure and like you said, that certainty to make the leap. Well, so tell me this. So you have these networks with multiple installers and multiple people, which is how you're able to serve so many customers across such a wide base. You know,
and then I guess
states.
one thing in that too is like I have personally installed a system on like by myself too.
You got up there with a hammer and a wrench?
Yeah, not exactly a hammer, but you get the point. Like I've gone on the roof while that's happening. I've already seen.
Really?
Like I know like little things about inverters and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that gives me, knowledge is power, right?
100%. So you're an absolute pro, which gives you, again, it leads back to the confidence. You can tell them like, no, this is how this is going to work because I've seen it, right? Would you suggest guys that are in solar, or it could be anything else, if they're selling any product, whether it could be door-to-door pest control alarms, it could be you're selling insurance, you're selling anything, would you recommend that's like an important thing for them to do, is go see and install themselves, go actually be boots on the ground and watch it happen?
Yeah, I mean, that helps. Like I have solar on my property in Missouri, right? Not Missouri, Ozark. MO, whatever that is. See, it's a rental property, right? I don't even know about it, but I have solar on my property, and it's just like it helps me, like, you know, because when customers ask me, "Hey, do you have panels?" Yeah, like, yeah, I do. Here's my contract.
I can show
like,
you how it works and all that. Yeah,
exactly. And I maxed out my contract to get the tax credits, so it's pretty inflated in price.
There you go.
But I have solar like on my property, so that's one of the reasons why I sell more.
I love it. Okay, so
if you don't believe in the product, you're not gonna, sell.
Well, because I remember my first summer at selling alarms at Vivint, I had probably sold. I mean, they tell you to sometimes sit on the couch and wait till the technician gets there for the install and whatever. But I had probably sold probably more like 80 or 90 alarms before I ever watched one be installed. And I'm like, imagine if I had known all this, like watched it happen earlier, what that would have changed. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've stopped counting after 500, over 500 installs I've had in solar. I've never once been up there on the roof while they're doing all this stuff. But it's a great advice. Like
it's fun.
It's not like you should be doing it all the time, but you should do it at least once to know.
Dude, I've shown videos to customers. Like when they're like, "Hey, how does this install and all that stuff?" I was like, dude, it's pretty cool. Watch this. I'll jump around on your roof. Yeah, exactly. I'll make it fun.
Yeah,
it's an experience, right?
Okay.
Sometimes I'll make the customers do their designs. Well, you put the panels here. I'll set the PPW and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, you design your home. This says 95% offset. In order for us to eliminate your bill, you need the full offset, right? So you can keep on adding panels and see whatever floats your boat, you know? But I make it fun for the customers, and the customer's like, oh, so how do they go up on the roof? It's pretty easy. A cool looking Indian guy will go and jump on your roof and install these systems, you know?
Yes.
Some stupid stuff like that. You get the point.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest, when it comes to Mihir and who is Mihir and how does Mihir work, I think that one of the biggest things that I could say is you are, definitely, you sell off energy, and fun is like a key word. You know, if you're having fun, the customer's having fun. Why would and logically the sale makes sense? Why would they not sign docs? You know, and I think that's a critical piece in any sales position. But anytime you're trying to influence somebody, is to be able to make sure that energy transfer happens, as far as being nonchalant, having fun. It's easier to pull back that way, but more importantly, that's probably one of your secrets. I don't know if you've thought about this, but this is probably one of your secrets to why you never burn out, you never get tired, you always are able to work 24/7 because it's just fun.
Yeah, it's
You're
just
like,
fun.
work,
Exactly.
what's work? I'm just having fun all day.
Yeah.
Oh, and still 5 solar deals today. Oh, then I had fun by creating this and doing that. Tell me this, when you're getting into your big growing your network of all these installers, for somebody that's not good at networking with a lot of people, or maybe someone that's just starting into their career and trying to figure out how to expand their network, what would you say? And it doesn't have to be solar specific. It could be with investors or friends. Or what would you say are maybe a couple, 2 or 3 pieces of advice that you could give to people that are looking to grow their network with high net people, more influential people?
Yeah.
How do you network so well?
So, I mean, usually I just love talking to people, right? So that's a different story a little bit. But one thing I've realized is like sometimes you need to pay to be in places to talk to these high net worth individuals, right? So I've paid for like the Dallas Country Club stuff and I go and talk to people out there, right? Small, like the Lifetime Fitness.
Tell us how much that is, the Dallas Country Club.
I went in with one of my buddies, but I think it's like you have to be invited to go in there. It's like 130K or
That's what I
something.
thought. Yeah, I heard above 120K. Yeah, a year.
Yeah, there's like masterminds, right? Like people go to Tony Robbins and stuff. Like there's like the 100 million mastermind, like the Manny Coachman's masterminds and all that stuff. So I've definitely paid to be in those places with people who make certain amount of money.
Okay.
Right? Like how else are you going to meet them?
100%.
You know, like because everyone works.
At a certain point, you got to pay to be in the bigger circles.
Yeah. So, I mean, what I would do is initially, like if you guys have no idea, like how to network with people, just the easiest thing you could do is look up networking events happening around you and just pay to go to those events. And then it will force you to talk to people because
like,
everyone out there wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right?
They all spend money, right?
They all spend money, right? So they are coming towards you to talk to you. So it becomes pretty easy to do that.
Nice.
You know what I'm trying to say? And if you're in door-to-door industry, bro, like you have to talk to everyone.
Yeah, that's the name of the game, is talking.
Exactly.
100%.
But that's one thing I would say, like just go out there, you know, be uncomfortable a little bit. You know, I mean, trust me, I didn't like talking to people at all back in the day. I just wanted to be on my phone, just trade and like, you know, just knock doors and go to bed and all that stuff. But then it makes it more fun when you are like having fun with other people, you know?
Yeah. Find a way to have fun with it.
Instead of being monotonous and robotic in life, just like do different things, you know?
Because I can see 2 different guys. I can see 2 different, or ladies, show up, pay money. Let's say they drop $100 on a ticket to some event in their local town. They show up and there's the nervous, sweaty palms. I don't know who I'm going to talk to. I don't really know anybody here. This is my first time doing something like this type of person. But that same person has the power to, just like you did, just take a deep breath, let it all out and be like, I'm just going to choose to have fun at this event and talk to whoever, you know, what energies are matching me. And I feel like, for me, just observing what I've seen, the success I've seen you had, I feel like that's one of your superpowers, is just being able to take a deep breath, let even the serious things just become fun in some way. Like, it's a choice, right? To choose to be happy, to choose to make it fun. And then from there, it just skyrockets. So, I think that's great advice. I think it's really, really good advice. Tell me on the doors, because I mean, you had to knock a lot of doors to get to that production level last year, and over the years, knocked a lot of doors. What's one of the craziest stories that happened to you here in the last, let's say, year, maybe 2 years? And whatever you want, however you want to take craziest stories. It could be a funny story, it could be a scary story, threatening story, whatever happened. Just give us an example of something crazy, because I don't know if people that are outside of the door-to-door world understand.
Know what happens, huh?
Bro, you could put a GoPro on one of these guys, any door-to-door rep in any industry. You could put a GoPro on their chest for one day, and people wouldn't even believe the stuff that door-to-door reps go through. So tell me, just in this last year, something crazy that happened.
This was last year, actually, or like, yeah, just like, see, all the years seem the same to me because blended. It was either 2023 fall or 2024, somewhere around that time. Like it was August. It was August or September of 2024, actually. Okay. This was in Midland, Odessa.
Okay.
Around Midland, Odessa, like county roads. If you know me, I just love walking county roads. It's like driving around, finding that good-looking house with like infinite sunlight, you know, that falls on the roof. This was around, I think it was 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. A long driveway. County roads usually have like long driveways, right? So I drove in. I had an Audi, I had what's that Breaking Bad car? Like Dodge, the black Dodge, or what? Okay. The Breaking Bad car, whichever, like the black car, right?
It's just some rental.
Some rental car. I love driving rentals, right? So it's like a black Breaking Bad car, you know,
looking like a mob
with
boss.
with like mob bus with white lights on it too. Okay. So Enterprise has some fire cars. I drove in like a mile-long driveway. I drove into the house, right? Remember, the house the door is right here. The car is parked. lights are on. And it's like probably like 8
Okay,
o'clock
so
at
you're
night.
parked, so the lights are shining on the doorway.
On the
So
doorway.
when they like hear a ding dong and they look out, they just see these bright spotlights on their front.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Because like the car, when you get out of the car, these new cars, when you lock the car, the lights are on for like a minute before they turn off, right?
sure.
Cool, I have my iPad in my hand. If you guys know me, I knock in like weird clothes. Like I'll wear like random hoodie.
Bro,
It's
what
cold,
you're wearing,
bro.
What you're wearing right now is what you knock in.
Yeah, usually,
T-shirt
yeah.
and
T-shirts, sweats,
all the
joggers,
time,
like hoodies
yeah.
if it's cold. I'm pretty sure I had a hoodie on back then in September.
I don't think
or
I've
so.
ever seen, well, maybe like twice seen you wear a uniform, like an actual like company. Usually it's like
Dude,
wear
I
the
just
shirt
like
of the day.
I just like knocking in whatever
Which I
makes
think
me
contributes to
comfortable.
your like chilled,
Yeah, I have a badge and all that stuff if they ask for it, and permit and all that stuff with me. But yeah, I just pulled into the driveway, got out of my car. I had my iPad on the side, hoodie on. It was cold, dark as heck. I love wearing all black, and then it was dark as heck out there. But the lights were flashing right on me, right? I ring the bell. I'm just standing out there. The lights turn off on my car. This old guy, butt ass naked, walks out with a shotgun right in front of me. He's like, "Hey, who's out there?" I was like, "Oh my god, dude!"
What time of night was this? What
Like 7:38ish.
Okay, it was just like probably winter when the sun sets early.
Winter, September, right?
Okay,
And dude,
okay.
trust me, county roads, Texas, like
Yeah.
people love guns out
In
here.
the dark, yeah.
Yeah, and plus like some random brown looking guy is knocking at your door at 7 o'clock.
Sweats and all black.
Drives in like a mile long radius. And there's a reason why I knocked that door too, because I saw it on my app where the person already had like the security system I was working with, the company I was doing the deal with. So I was like, okay, cool. It's going to be an easy deal. I'll just go talk to him about how he likes the security system and all that stuff. But the fun part was he pulled up a shotgun, right? And I was like, bro, like, hey, who is it out there? And I just got scared. I was like, what the heck, dude? He's just putting keep in mind, my iPad was right here. I was like, dude, chill, I'm just here because you have your X security system, right? Yeah. And the iPad falls on the ground because my iPad was right here. I raised my hands, right? And the iPad just falls. It makes a third sound. And I thought he just shot me or something. And I was just like, bro, what's going on? I was like, is everything fine? Oh, cool. Life just flashed. Yeah, I was just like, bro, this is my last day of knocking, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, my.
But then the iPad just fell. The guy was like, I was just like, hey, I'm here because of your security system. I'm just here to see if everything's working fine, yada, yada, yada. Not sure if someone told you I was going to stop by, just my basic pitch, right? And he's like, no, but give me a second, right? And then he turns around, he's naked. He turns around, walks in, shuts the door, wears his clothes and comes out.
Okay.
And then I just pretty much just pitch him like how we can save him money, save him $25 a month on his system and all that stuff. And he was like, oh, no one has stopped by here. No one has talked to me about it. Cool. I was like, that's exactly why I was here. You're a hard person to grab a hold of. I went inside the house. He had like freaking 10 cats. The house was just like stinky.
We gotta know if you sold them.
Come on. Of course, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. I walked in, he passed somehow. I don't know how he passed. He passed credit somehow, got installed, everything was good to go.
Nice.
But that was one of my craziest stories last year at least. And there's a bunch like that, to be honest. But this one was the one that comes to my mind. Yeah.
You thought you were a dead man for half a second.
No, I thought I was dead for sure.
That was hilarious. I think everyone on the doors that's knocked for a while has seen someone naked, whether they wanted to or not. But I definitely had a guy in Atlanta my first or second summer where he had one of those doors where it's like a big oval window in the middle, but it's like with a lot of little panes of glass. Some of them are kind of blurry and stuff. So in his mind, I think he thought, oh, as long as I stand behind the door, no one outside can see me, right? Of course, there's a window, so I can see straight through. But I knocked on this guy's door, no answer. I like rang the doorbell again or something like that. And then he comes out and I just see like movement. And then I just see this head pop out around the side of the door and it had water on it. And he's like, I'm in the shower. What's going on? And I'm like, oh, and I just like look and they're just everything. The window, I could see his whole, So yeah, I think people that have knocked for a while have all had some, but the gun adds another element. Then you thought you were a dead man. And then you have the 10 cats, which I think most people think usually translates to failed credit. When someone,
usually. That's why I ran the credit pretty quick. But
10 pets.
But honestly,
And then you sold
in
them.
West Texas, usually like they have good credit out there. If you're locking county roads, like they have good credit. But they don't spend money on anything else.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me this. So what do you feel like, we can say ever, or we can just say in the last year, what do you feel like is one of the biggest mistakes you've ever made in business? And knowing what you know now from that mistake, like what would you do differently?
I mean, that was one of the biggest mistakes I did was last year or the year before was working for only one company and using only one lending options, like only one route. Like there's no one way of doing so, right? And that costed me almost like, I mean, you know that too. Like it was almost like 1.2 to 1.3 mil.
A lot of money.
You know, and it was just gone.
Yeah.
Couldn't recover
Can't
that.
get it
Companies
back.
filing
Yeah.
bankruptcies,
trust
and
me.
I mean, people in solar already know how many companies went under last year. You know, there's probably more companies that went under than started. You know.
Yeah, I got a good 400 something K
Yeah.
out there in the nebula
gone.
floating around. Yeah.
Just
Okay.
gone.
So
But that was my thing. Was like never put.
diversifying.
It was the best and the worst advice I got was like, don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay.
Sometimes you do have to put all your eggs in one basket to make a lot of money because you need to do one thing and be pretty good at one thing and then expand, you know?
Yeah.
But it also, it's the same way of like not, you know, relying
Okay,
on
so
one
for
thing.
you, it's all in into one thing, which is solar. But then within solar,
You
cast
branch
your
out.
net wide and make sure. So somebody that's I don't know, maybe they're selling cars or something. Maybe their specialty is Hondas, so they're all in on Honda. But then when they get to Honda, they're good at trucks and they're good at cars and they're good at vans and they're good at.
But if
that
someone wants an EV car, what are you going to do?
yeah.
Give them EV. Yeah, same thing with solar, right? If someone wants a loan, what are you going to do? Give them a loan. If someone wants a PPA, power purchase agreement, you give them a lease, right? So it just depends, you know. If they
Love it.
want Tesla panels, you have to give them Tesla panels, you know.
love
Don't fight
Yeah.
with the customer. Remember, you're on the same team in the end, you know.
That's valid. That's huge. And if you're having fun with them, like you say, that's your main thing. Then how are you going to start fighting with someone you're having fun with?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Tell me this. So you made all this money last year selling solar. What's your favorite investment you made last year with all this money?
I actually bought a bunch of, I mean, obviously crypto. I love buying crypto nonstop. I keep on buying crypto automated. I bought a bunch of, you know how there's VC investments you can do, like private equity shares and all that stuff. So I did a bunch of private equity stuff.
Nice.
I did bought some trucks actually, like which
Like
transport
U-Haul trucks?
Not
Or
U-Haul,
sorry,
but
not like a diesel.
like cement, like they transport like cement and they transport like hazardous
We're talking
material,
semi trucks.
semi trucks, like garbage
Nice.
and all that stuff. I bought some of those. I bought a John Deere, like the tractor.
Oh, John Deere?
Yeah.
Really?
Whatever the tractor is for, like a farming investment. I did a lot of like apartment complexes and all that stuff with few investors. So yeah, I mean, and then dirty dough, like the cookie stores and all that stuff. I just like I said, I like diversification, right? So I just diversified my whole portfolio.
Okay, so you don't have one favorite that you're like, this is my favorite thing. I'm not telling you to sponsor it so that everyone gets in on the same thing. I'm just saying, did you have one that you're most excited about that's like...
I mean, honestly, I am actually. I mean, a lot of my money right now and last year too went into buying leads for my business. You know, like buying solar leads, buying insurance leads, or pest control leads, or whatever, was to grow my business, right? So I can help guys, give them warm doors they can go and talk to and make some money.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess like my best investment, honestly, is like I always 2 to 3x my money. So if I'm spending like say 100K on leads, I'll probably make like 2 to 300K on that.
Okay, again,
know?
going back to the spending money to get money, whether it's networking, whether it's leads, the more you spend, the more you make.
Yeah, I mean, in the right way, yeah. And that's how I actually live my life too. Like I usually like spending a lot on my credit cards and I'm like, okay, let's figure out how to make all this money.
Let's spend it, and now I got to go figure out a way to get it all back.
It's like, I don't know what happened, what it is with me, dude. It's like just the survival instincts, bro. They just kick in because if I have too much money in my bank account, I just like chill. I legit don't work. So that's one of the reasons why I like aggressively invest.
Yeah.
And you get complacent, right? You get pretty lethargic when you're living a life the way you live, right? I mean, you travel a lot too, just so that you can learn more and
Yeah. So
become comfortable.
That's okay. So you have the make a lot of money, invest a lot of money, so I feel like I stay broke, so I keep the pressure on myself type of mindset. But then you also have the way to keep that always fun, right? Because I mean, trust me, I know people that have done the same thing. I've done the same thing where I'm like, if I have more, there was a time, actually, it kind of still is this way, but if I had more than like, say, 30K in my bank account, I was stressed. I'm like, this money should be working for me somewhere. Like, I can't, why it's just sitting in my bank account, right? But like, so you find a way, the magic of Mihir, one of the magic things about Mihir is you find a way to put that pressure and that stress on yourself, but still have fun, because it's easy to fall into a scarcity mindset at that point, right? How do you keep the fun, happy-go-lucky, always, how do you keep that fun? Is it the affirmations? Is it, what is it that makes you?
It definitely is the affirmations too, but it's also the people you surround yourself with, right?
Okay,
specifically even in sales, when you're doing sales, you're all like young, hungry people around you, right? Like it's fun too, but it's cutthroat too. Like you have to be on top of your game, right? With sales, like it's different too, because you're just like, the way you justify anything in general is just like, oh, that's like buying a car, it's like one account. or like the monthly payment for a house is like one account, like it's half an account, right? That's how you justify yourself, right? That's what I've noticed, at least with like the reps I have. I'll make them buy like nice things, like, hey, if you have $10,000, right? Hey, I have $10,000 saved. Like, what should I do with it? Buy a Rolex. That's what I'll tell them, because then it's like when they are used to nice things, or like buy a nice car. That's what I'll tell them, get a car, because their expenses are like 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They're spending like $200 a month.
Okay.
Right. So they're just like, you know what? I just need to make like more than $200 a month or $500 a month.
And I'm good.
I'm good. No, but the way you shift the mindset is by showing them nice things, right? It's the abundance mindset. I feel like the same reason why all these millionaires and billionaires keep on buying like massive yachts and all that stuff, so they can have higher goals. So
right? It's a reinforcing loop of now I feel more wealthy because I have this nicer car, I have these better clothes, whatever it is. But then it's also like, oh shoot, credit cards due. There's 30 grand on this thing. I got to go make money.
It's delayed gratification too, though. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, exactly. And it may be the wrong thing. Like it may not be your way of doing things or whatever, right? It works out for me.
Yeah. Nice.
You just have to trust yourself. Like you need to know your limits too.
Nice.
Right? But if a system is working for you, just keep on doing
Double down on it.
Like so many people have told me like, you're so dumb to buy all these leads and appointments and all that stuff. Right? And I'm just like, bro, like, why are you spending so much money on these appointments and leads? Right? I mean, the reason why I am, because I'm making money on this, right? I'm closing one more deal than you are.
For sure.
How does it matter if half the commission goes to someone else, right? But it's one more deal I'm closing than you are.
Exactly.
Tell
me this. So you have this love for work to the point where it's not even really work. It's just fun, but when you are dialed in that way, which again for you is fun, but when you're dialed in this way to making money all the time, tell me, when we go back to the work-life harmony, when I say life, I mean, because most of the friends that you have are people that you work with and people that you go to the gym with, like they're already doing the things that you're doing. But when it comes to whether it's family time or people that are outside of like your work network, balancing your time to be, again, I shouldn't use the word balance because we're using harmony. How do you find the harmony with them to be able to give them adequate time? And you talked about your mom earlier, or your dad, for example. If you're working 24/7, how do you balance that time to be able to?
It is hard. I'll be honest. Like I tend to neglect family sometimes, and I know that deep down within. I try calling them like once every week, or like at least I used to call them every day, but now I try calling like once every other day. It is hard. No, I honestly don't know how to answer that question, but what I would say is like, if people know who you are, right? If your family, close guys around you know what you're doing for and the reason why you're doing it for, right? And if someone wants to be in your life, they will be in your life. That's what I've realized. I know like I want to, so for example, let's take an example of Mark Christensen, like you itself, right? Like, even though we don't talk for like 2-3 months at a time, right? I'll still text you when I'm back in Dallas. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I want you to be in my life, right? And likewise, like the reason why we're doing this podcast is because you want to be around me as well, right? So the people who want to be around you and people who know like the goals you have in line and all that stuff, they're going to be with you no matter what. That's one thing I've realized, and then obviously the more you work, you lose some friends and all that stuff because they were your fair weather friends. They all they wanted to do with you was just party and just like, make you buy drinks and all that stuff. And that's totally fine. If someone like goes away like that, that's totally fine. I don't know. Just for me, it's just like, if people want to be in your life, they'll be in your life no matter what.
I like it.
And it's likewise the same way.
I like it. Tell me this. This is kind of going to be a little bit morbid, but at your funeral one day, we all die. It's normal. At your funeral one day, what would you say is the number one thing that you want to be remembered for in this life?
Dang, that's hard, huh?
It's a deep one. I know we're shifting gears a little bit.
Yeah. Damn, why didn't you just share me all these questions?
Listen, somebody talked to me the other day about their tombstone statement, and they're like, dude, you get like one phrase to put on your tomb. You can't be having like a paragraph on your tombstone, right? So they're like, someone's going to walk through that graveyard, they're going to see that, and that's your whole life, and they're going to see one phrase, and like, what is your whole life is summed up into that. So it got me thinking. I was like, wow, like what when they talk about me. Well, I mean, we hopefully live to be 1,000 years old, but when the day comes, people are going to talk about us. What do you want Mihir's legacy to be that he leaves behind? That when they talk about Mihir, this is what he's remembered for.
Yeah. hopefully I never die, by some immortal hack, like some immortal hack comes
with,
out,
with new technology.
before 100 years from now. I don't know. That's a pretty.
Because the thing is, I feel like you're always.
I would think of like something like happy-go-lucky guy, or like free, or or the goat. I don't know.
Feel free.
Yeah, just something that gives out like free vibes.
The fun, free money goat.
Yeah, something that. Yeah, exactly. FMMG.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Money.
The acronym.
I don't know. Just,
okay.
That's a pretty tricky one. But yeah, something like, something that they just know, like, hey, whatever happens for good, and then just a free guy. You live only once, so might as well make the most of it.
Have fun and send it.
Take the risks,
Yeah. I like it. Tell me, up to this point, who's been the most influential person for you? Have you had any like special mentors? Anybody that's impacted your life especially? And if so, whoever they are, how have they impacted you?
I can't think of like an individual, but there were a lot of people though. Because like when you're like 18, you look up to someone else. When you're 19, you look up to someone else. When you make X amount of money, you look up to someone else, right? But there were like multiple people that I looked up to throughout the whole time. Obviously your parents are going to be there, but then it's a little bit different, right? If your mom doesn't do door-to-door or your dad doesn't do door-to-door, you're not going to ask him for advice for door-to-door, right? So there isn't one person I can think of that comes to my mind, but there's like a bunch of people.
Do you have any heroes? Do you have anybody, if someone's like, who's your hero, or one or two people? They could be alive, they could be past, they could be fantasy, they could be.
I guess I'm a little biased right now because of all the news and all that stuff.
Okay.
But one of them definitely is Elon Musk, I guess, because he has kind of the same mindset I have. Like, whatever he makes, he just dumps it all into a different investment or a different startup or a different company, right? So I guess he's one of those guys I can think of. Like, he's just like a I guess happy-go-lucky guy and does whatever it takes to succeed, I guess, That's how I look at it. So I guess I could.
That's a great answer. Yeah, Elon Musk. Tell me, 5 years from now, so we are in 2025 now, recently. I feel like I'm still in 2023 somehow. Somehow we're in 2025 now. Where's here in 5 years from now? Throw us into 2030. Where do you see yourself? Where can we expect to see here in 5 years?
I'd probably be doing the same thing, honestly. Like, I'll probably somewhere at the beach, I guess, hopefully. But I just don't care where I'm 5 years from now.
You're not going to be
I
at
just care
the
where I'm
beach.
right now. I don't like seeing things like too much in the future or too much in the past. I feel like people live in the future, people live in the past, and like I feel like you need to live in the present, right? But 5 years from now, I would hope I have like duplicates of myself, right? I have like 10 people like me who are doing, kind of like clones, right? 10 people like me who are doing the same thing and helping the society in terms of making money, doing solar, like building teams around them, right? Growing together, But yeah, to be honest, like that's the best I can answer this question.
You don't really look that too far like that in the future.
I just like living in the present. I just like doing things like, hey, this is what that needs to be done. Per day. I divide work per day. Small things I look at is like, okay, I need to invest X amount of money every single month. These things, And then I have like a whole chart made of like, okay, in 5 years, this is how much it's going to be. In 6 years, this is how much it's going to be. But I don't have any materialistic goals like, oh, I need like a 10-bedroom home or like a house on the beach or whatever the heck,
Gotcha.
Like I don't have like those kind of goals.
Tell me, if you could go back to your 18-year-old self and give one piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
Buy Bitcoin. Just kidding.
Hey, at that age, at that age, you'd be, okay.
One advice I would give, I guess when I was 18, I was pretty fat, low-key. Not gonna lie, I was like
overweight.
Okay. But I guess one advice I would give my 18-year-old self would be something like, hey, like, you're doing just fine, because I was under a lot of pressure when I was 18. I came to the US from a different country. I didn't even know how to do laundry.
Self-pressure or pressure from other people?
It was just weird.
Okay.
Because I was living in a sheltered life in India where like, we had
Didn't know
maid.
how to do laundry.
Yeah, dude, like it was a little different. It was pretty sheltered life back home, like where we had maids doing laundry and all that stuff. So I used to wake up with like a nice closet every single time and all
sure.
that stuff.
And you're dumped at the University of Utah.
Yeah,
You're like, what is this?
The bed was like freaking hard as heck. It was like no memory foam, I guess. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, no memory.
So like a pretty
The
rough.
stained mattress.
Yeah, and I legit had to go to my RA, and I was like, dude, like I don't even know how to, wash my clothes. Like, how do I iron them and all that stuff? So it was pretty humbling experience. But like, shoot, like I don't have my dad or my mom now. It's like you are put in this world,
Okay.
and you have to figure it out yourself, right? So it was initially I broke my arm as soon as I came to school too.
Really?
So then
What,
the
you got
second week I went mountain biking.
Oh, wow.
And the second week, I shattered my radius and all, like both the bones broke. So it was like a pretty rough patch. And I was like contemplating, dude, like, screw this. I just need to go back to India. It's not worth it.
Wow.
This is like, life is miserable out
Yeah.
here.
I'm on the stained twin-size mattress, no maid, broke my
Bunk
arm.
bed with 3 people. Yo, it was like one room with 3 people. No joke. It was like 1, 2, 3. I was like, bro, what the heck's good? There's no personal space.
I don't have my own wing of the mansion.
Yeah, no, but you get the point. Like, no personal
Yeah,
space.
for sure.
Bunk bed.
Broken arm.
A broken arm. I was just like, bro, what the heck is
The
going
food.
on? Like,
What do you
it's
think about American food? Was that a culture
No,
shock?
no, food was fine.
Okay.
Like I said, I was a fat kid, so anything that moves was chilling. As long as it tasted good, I was fine with the food.
Okay.
But I would just tell Mihir, dude, like you're doing just fine. Your life is gonna, go. It's all like fire from here.
Okay.
It's all goated from here.
Just, hey, keep your chin up. It's gonna be rough, but we're gonna have a
Yeah.
blast.
I just wish I started doing solar earlier, bro. Like I would have just told 18-year-old me here to like, hey, you're doing engineering, but you're gonna go knock on doors, like instant.
Yeah.
It's the most humbling experience, and it's like you learn so much. This whole world is mental. I feel like it's like what's in here, not what's out there.
100%. That's fire. That's valid. Do you have any words of encouragement for other young entrepreneurs? Anybody else that maybe is in college and they're looking to take the leap? Maybe it's somebody that's 60 years old that is getting into retirement here. I know some people that I had spoken to not too long ago that they spent 30 years in the fire department and they have their money coming in their pension or whatever, but now they're getting in retirement and they're like, I think I want to do something else with my life. I don't want to just sit around, and they want to become entrepreneurs. Any advice for people that are looking to get into entrepreneurship and kind of take the leap from the safe security of maybe like you did mechanical engineering, but jump into that world of betting on themselves and entrepreneurship? Any advice for any of them?
Yeah. So I mean, anyone who's older, like obviously it's never too late, And then when I was younger, I was just like, dude, I have like a lot of time, like just like how you said, like 5 years go like that. Like you don't even realize one day you're in school and then boom, then you graduated out, I mean, one advice I would give, like, I guess guys who are retiring is just like, it's never too late. Like Nike said, just do it. Sometimes you just need that push. And so what happens if you fail, like that's the failure, beauty in failure, right? Like every failure brings you closer to success, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's the what if aspect, right? Like what if it works? If it doesn't work, you can go back to your normal life, right? If that's what you want to do, right? But it's like, what if it works out?
Yeah.
That's what I like. It's the hope.
Yeah, that's like that David Goggins, like, what if I do this, right? Because I think that's, a lot of people have that fear of.
Or like even like, imagine like, say I don't know if you guys believe in God or not. Like I really don't care as much. But say if a higher being does exist, right? And say, like you said, like your tombstone, what if you die and all that stuff? Like imagine you're dying and meeting some higher being, and he's like, you know what? This is what I had planned for you, and you couldn't hit that. Like what? It's the what if.
And you play video games and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah, that would be a savage day. Yeah, that would not be fun. Yeah, I think that's a big deal. Is they look at what if from a fear perspective. What if what goes wrong? But Mihir focuses on what if it goes right.
Yeah, it's the mindset, right? It's like it is going to work out. Like if you give it's the vibration you give towards doing something. You know what I'm trying to say? If you're going to go do something that's with a positive affirmation and all that stuff, and if you believe in yourself, it's going to work. Does that make sense? Like I mean, it's pretty obvious, dude. Like don't try to reinvent the wheel too. right? Like a lot of these guys, like specifically for door-to-door industry guys, there are people out there already making more money than you're making, way more than y'all are making, right? So if guys are already doing that, that means you can do it too. You know, all these 18, 19-year-olds are like, hey, I want to make 50K, 60K, 100K, 200K. People are already making that much money doing the same thing you're doing. Same thing with entrepreneurs, right? Okay, yeah, I want to make 100 million, 200 million, 100 billion, right? There's always going to be someone out there who has already done what you have done and is making more money doing the same thing you're doing. So if he can do it, you can do it. As long as you don't give up.
That's a big deal.
You
That's
know?
a big deal.
So that's usually, this is what I look at. Like, it's just like, if someone else can do it, that means you can do it too.
Yeah.
It's in the end, we all are humans. We have the same potential. It just, you have to decide what you want to do.
Valid. Yeah. When I worked for Tony Robbins, that was one of the things that, that was like, I guess, heavily stressed with their coaching and kind of getting people's mindset right, was helping them see that there's the what if it goes wrong, right? There's the what if it goes right, which is what you obviously want to focus on. But people would think, like, I think people, the fear that's in their mind, how do I say this? Here's what I'm trying to say. There's one thing that you've said before, which is that, you know, what's the worst that could happen? And people's things of fear of like, I don't want to try this. I don't want to go out on a limb. I don't want to do this thing because this could happen or that could happen. And they have this fear of like, what's the worst thing that could happen, right?
That's how I look at my life too. Is like, I don't look at the best and the worst option. I just look at the first best, second best, third best, fourth best option.
Okay.
So the way I look at it is like, if this doesn't work out, then this will work out. You know, it's
Okay.
like, what's the second best choice? Instead of calling it like the worst choice.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's nothing called as worst choice, right? Because whatever
Yeah.
happens for good. So the first best might be this instead of this, you know? And you needed to do this to get this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes we got to take a step backwards to go forwards.
Exactly. It's like the arrow. You have to pull the arrow back in order for it to
let it go. And that's one huge thing. I think that, well, this is what my point with talking about the Tony Robbins thing is, you know, there would be people that we would be talking to or coaching that it would basically be this idea of like, what if it doesn't work, or what if something goes wrong, or what if the worst case scenario happens, right? Whether it's an entrepreneurial jump, whether it's a relationship they're figuring out, whatever it is, like if I do this thing, what if the worst case scenario happens? But then when you actually ask people like, okay, well, let's just say that that's true. Let's say that what is the worst case scenario? Like, what's the actual worst? Well, I could like lose my job. Okay, and then what? And then I wouldn't have money. Okay, and then what? Like, lose my house? You're not going to lose your house. You're going to find another job. Like, it's really not that bad when you really address the scary monster in the dark closet. Be like, what is the worst that could happen? And is it really that bad? Probably not as bad as you're making it seem, right, in your head. And yeah, I think that's something that you do a really good job at, as far as having this fun mindset and this excited, like I just love business. And I always look at, like you just said, this ranking system of being able to see what's the worst thing that could happen, what's the best thing that could happen, but not just one or two, but like multiple. Give yourself options, figure out the one that's the most fun, and just send it.
Yeah. It's just like skydiving, you know, you just need to jump out of the plane, you know, or just like, you get the point where sometimes you have to do it. And yeah, I mean, if it doesn't work out, it's not that bad. Like you said, like that's actually pretty important, because when you were saying that, I was thinking to myself, like, what if it doesn't work out? What if like all the stuff I'm doing falls apart completely? It's still not that bad.
Yeah, what's the worst? Yeah.
Like worst case, you're back on the streets, right? Sure, I'll go knock again and make $600 a deal. Like it's not bad.
Anyway.
I was already doing that in the first place. Like what's the worst, you know? I'll go back to farming. That's fine too. Like it's just fun.
Yeah. And,
you know, I'll be the best farmer out there.
And I love what you said, because it's so true. No matter what situation somebody's in, when they're in that low place, because we all get there, when you're in that low place, you have to remember that there is almost 100% guaranteed somebody somewhere somehow that has been in a situation like that, or probably worse, that has then found a way to turn it over and come out even better, right? So if you are an electrician and you lose your job and now you're going to lose your house, and there's probably some other electrician out there that's lost his job before and that came back and started his own electrician companies now as a multimillionaire. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
like it's like there's probably someone that's already done. This is going back to your point of making, you know, don't reinvent the wheel. Just do what people have already done. Like no matter what situation you find yourself in, there's somebody that's already been there and that's come out even better than you thought, right?
Yep.
I love this because, yeah, especially if we're talking back about solar, the low points that we went through a couple years ago, and then now it has catapulted you into this. You know, you learned those lessons and grew from them, and
hopefully
exploded.
you never know. You never,
for now, for the time being.
Now, for the time being, you have to adapt or die. That's just, it's evolution, right? Like you have to adapt. You can't be comfortable, dude. Like even the bird, like that's one thing I like about the birds too, right? Like you know how there's a branch and like the eagle sits on the branch, right?
Okay.
Is the eagle worried about the branch breaking? No, because the eagle knows it can fly. Like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
And the second thing too is like, don't be comfortable. You know, believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in yourself, right? It's your life, dude. You have just one life. Make your own rules, live your own life. But also don't, but yeah, I mean, it's, I don't know, dude. I just think it's too easy at this point right now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just believe in yourself, I guess, you know.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for the conversation, for coming on and chatting with us. We will let the audience go and then let you go back to your busy life. So thanks for coming on, and
cool.
see you guys next time.